Another very important point of both the L-1A and the EB-1C is the roles. You held both outside of the US in the foreign company and also in the US. So what are the details here?
So the details are that you have to show that you have been a manager outside the United States for minimum of 1 year. And your future position in the United States is managerial in nature as well. So often these are technically the same positions, the same duties that you're going to perform, but we have to be really intentional when we present that evidence to the United States, because that's one of the things that they actually will, usually they deny the cases, the L1 or the EB-1Cs. Because they say, well, it's not the duties that you presented are not managerial in nature. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you have to everything that 100% you act as a manager. So you don't perform non-managerial duties. For example, what is a non-managerial duty? Perhaps talking, I don't know, picking up the phone or other things that you do in the office that are not considered managerial.
So the documentation here is actually the job description with percentages, right, of exactly what you will do.
Yeah, the job description is probably one of the most important piece of information on your L-1A and the EB-1C. So what we usually do, we have to write a really detailed job description and make sure that every single duty is managerial in nature. And we have to put a percentage of time spent on each duty.
So the typical one or EB-1C is about managers managing people. We know there's a few examples of maybe executives that are maybe not having direct reports or functional managers. They are a bit more of a borderline case, I think. In general, they get a bit more pushback, but generally speaking, it's more about also showing the direct reports or who you're managing.
Right. So if you're managing people, it's way easier to show comparing to a functional manager. So that's why if you're going for a functional manager, the denial rate on those is a bit higher because we cannot really show with actual evidence that you're a manager. Compare that to if you manage people, if you manage teams, we show the org chart, we show each person on that org chart and their degree. Then we also show their resumes, their pay stubs. So just to establish that you're managing people. In addition to that, as a manager, according to the USCIS definition of a manager, you have to have the right to hire, to fire, to discipline. So we have to show evidence of that as well. So I usually will request your emails for the last maybe year. Usually it's for that calendar year to show that you assign duties to your reportees. You do their performance review. If you have to hire somebody, you sit on that interview. If you have to fire somebody, there's communication on that as well. So once we include these emails, that kind of paints the picture that yes, you are a manager.
Yeah, and you just talked about the degrees of your direct reports. So there's a thing with L-1As that either you are managing reports that have a bachelor's degree or 2 levels, right, if they don't.
Right, so you have to, the requirement is that you have to show that you manage professionals. And professionals are usually defined, people who have bachelor degrees. So either you show that or you show that you have 2 levels of reportees.
So people report to you and some people
report to them.
Okay. So this is one of the most essential parts of the L-1A because other than that, there's a lot about the company, how big the company is, the relationship, and the revenue or the growth. But in terms of your role, this is essential, and it's very important to show that your duties are managerial in nature.